Hello to myself and everybody else. This is video 113. So far today, I'm still working with C++, and I'm still working with the free code camp 31-hour long video. And so far this time, the video was covering just two other things, which was basically like looking closer at the requires clause and also how to combine different like concepts and everything and stuff as well. So far, the first thing I'll do is just like the requires clause. So we have to go ahead and just include concepts and go ahead and put in the other thing using namespace std. Alright, so far with the looking closer at the requires clause, the main thing it basically mentioned was just kind of like some of different kind of requirements, such as like simple requirements, compound requirements, and also like nested requirements. So basically just the first thing is just going to set up a concept and everything as well. So I'll play type name. I messed it up. Type name T concept. And from here we'll make one like the one that was in the video. It's called tiny type equals, and then put a requires here. And just so we'll look at just one variable. And base for a concept, I have to put a semicolon at the very end for it to work. And so far with this, it will basically look at the size of the variable. And then if it's less than equal to 4 bytes, then, you know, that's basically it. Like this right here is a simple requirement. And so far, again, with this, again, just a basic concept. Basically just looks called type, tiny type. It'll look at the variable and stuff like that too. So T. And from there, if it's less than 4, that's basically the whole thing, less than 4 bytes. Let me go ahead and just set up the function and stuff real quick too, so we can just use it. So I'll call this one. So we'll just use the other format for this. So I'm messing completely up. Tiny type auto add, and this one will still be tiny type auto A. I'll just copy this over so I don't have to type it again. And tiny type auto B. And basically the same thing. So return A plus B. Same thing we're doing a bunch, just return both of them added together. So basically the whole thing and stuff too with this concept, the main thing it should do is mostly just this. Simple requirements and all that. Basically just the size of T and everything and stuff here too. All this does is just kind of check the syntax, and that's it. So basically, again, just let me finish setting this up so I can just like fully explain exactly what that really means. So basically just set up int A equals just a random number, int B equals another random number, and we'll just say auto result equal add A and B. And we'll have it print out two things. So I'm going to just get that set up. So go ahead and print out the result. And we'll print out the size of result. So yeah, again, with this and everything too, it basically should just check the syntax. So again, size of T less than equal to 4. So we're going to just run this real quick, make sure it works. Yeah, we see the size of is 4 and everything, so it fits this and everything as well. And so far, again, you would think basically with this, it would be like, okay, so if it's greater than 4 bytes, it won't run. So let me change both of these and everything real quick. Change it to double and run it. And yeah, you can see the size of it is 8. Again, it shouldn't have ran, but it still did. The reason for that is because the video basically said with a simple requirement, it just checks the syntax. Basically, and I might be getting this wrong, basically what I got from that is it checks the syntax of this up here, basically. And since there's no error, like the code technically works and it's right, it will still run. That's it. It doesn't actually look at this. It doesn't look at the function. It doesn't look at the variables to see if, okay, are they 4 bytes or less? It doesn't really care. It's just like, okay, this concept template is right. That's all that matters. So as far as I know, it really doesn't do anything. Again, I might be getting this wrong entirely, but from what I got from it, that was really it. So far, the next thing it showed was something called a nested requirement. And basically with the nested requirement, it basically will do what we expected the other one to do. It will actually look and see, is this 4 bytes or less? And if it's not, then it won't run. So basically, again, all you need is really this. We just copy this, paste it here. And the only thing we have to do is just put the word requires in front. That's it, requires. And let me go ahead and put this real quick. So nested requirement. I'm typing this wrong. There we go. Probably spelled it wrong, whatever. Like the whole thing stuff is this though. So with this, I can basically like comment this out too if I want as well. Again, requires size of t be less than or equal to 4. So basically now it will check to see if it's less than or equal to 4. So let me do this now. So int, change it back, we'll run it. So far it's running perfectly fine. But so far if we go change it back to double, so far it ran fine last time. This time it won't run because again, basically it's just saying like it doesn't really follow what this is. Because it's supposed to be 4 bytes or less. It's 8, so it's not going to run. We get an error and everything, stuff like that. So that's really the whole thing with that and stuff too. So if we want this concept to actually have an effect, we have to put requires in front of it. And if we really don't, then again, I still don't understand why we would really use this simple requirement if it doesn't really do what we think it does. But basically, again, just seems like the nested one just kind of, works better for actual restrictions and everything like that. So that's like one of the main things to really like use that for. So far, the next thing it showed was the compound like requirement. So basically, I'm just going to copy this and just edit it. Do that and also just go ahead and comment the one above it out. So far with the compound one and everything as well, base main thing I'll just change is this. So we'll just call it addable. And for this, we'll take in 2 different variables. So A and B. Erase this. So basically with this one, what it will do is this. Basically we have to put curly braces and stuff here. So take A and B, close it with curly braces. And basically make kind of like an arrow here. Using like a dash and a greater than sign. And basically from here, we'll just say something like std : Again, I don't have to put this part because I'm using namespace std. I don't have to put this right here, but I'm just doing it because again, it was in the video. Just why not? And do convertible. Oops, spelled that wrong. Convertible to int. And basically with this right here, let me just go and say it is a compound requirement. Basically with this and everything and stuff too, what it does is basically with the curly braces, because you have to have this, is basically looking at the variables up here and everything, and basically saying, okay, make sure the syntax and stuff is right. So it's like 2 variables and all that, and then make sure they can be converted to int. So basically we can just use, as far as I know, just compound, just like do two things with this. So basically go ahead and like just change this as well. So instead of tiny type, it would be addable. And so far with this, again, we can just run this and just make sure some stuff. Yes, so far again, this works even though both of the variables are double, because so far double can be converted to an int. So it really should work with everything else too, except for one thing. So again, int, we do that, run it, should be fine. Yeah, so far that works. Character, run it. Yeah, so far character works as well. So far the only thing that really won't work is string. Forgot the R there. And again, we'll just make it something simple again. So just make it like H. And so far we run it now. And so far we got an error and everything. Because so far again, a string is not convertible to int. But if I change int up here to string and then run it, then it works perfectly fine. Again, basically with this, just with the curly braces and everything and stuff as well, just telling you to check this and everything, or telling the concept to check this, and then see if whatever you want over here, it does it or fits into the thing. So far, that was a one example with a compound requirement. Again, you probably do a bunch of stuff with that, but really that was like the only thing he kind of showed me right there. So mostly again, just good for like restrictions and everything like that and stuff too. Just so, you know, if you want your functions or concepts to do something specific or prevent people from doing something specific, that also works. So it's the whole thing, stuff with that. Just going back to check and make sure it works and stuff again. Yep, so like I said again, it will work and everything like that, no problem. So far, the next thing the video covered was combining concepts. So basically, I'm just going to get this kind of just set up and everything, because we can just kind of, wait, hold on. We just basically reuse some of the stuff we just had. So let me just get rid of the compound one we just made. And really the function and stuff we have, we're going to change this entirely as well. Alright. So basically, what the combining thing is basically like, again, with this template and everything stuff, or this concept and everything up here, basically again, just it checks to make sure that the byte size of it is 4 or less. So basically we're going to make a template function and stuff for that. So template type name capital T. And so far with this, we'll just basically make it so it's like T. And again, just using what was in the video and everything and stuff here. Just func capital T, lowercase t. And so far it'll be requires. So far again, I'll just put the std again. Std integral with a T here. And so far this right here, these two lines right here, this is the sign for or. And basically std floating points. And from here, I'll just go ahead and put the other part down here. And just say cout value T and L, and also return T. So basically what this does and everything too, this function here, it basically is, again, the function called funct, or, you know, this, and basically it requires that the variable T and everything and stuff here either be an int or an integral, or it be a floating point. So basically if it's neither one of these, it won't run whatsoever. So basically this, we can go ahead and just like, let me go ahead and make sure I have the function and everything and stuff down here. And with this, you only need really one variable. So I'll just get rid of one. There we go. So basically here, this, it should run because this is an int. So it's an int, it should run. Yep, runs no problem. So far a double, that should run as well because a double is technically a floating point, something like that. So that's why it also runs. Also a character would also run as well too, because I think that can be, like, it's kind of considered a, like, int, I guess. But basically the only thing it wouldn't work on is string. So we just make another one of those and just run it. Yeah, and it doesn't work whatsoever. So far I'm wondering if I change this to string. Let's see if it works now. Yeah, so I need to know the expression for that. But so far the whole thing with that is just, again, basically if I knew what it was, basically I could make it so it could be either a string or a floating point and everything like that. So that's kind of the whole thing and stuff there. But so far, again, I'll stick to what the video has. I'll do more research on that and everything as well. But yeah, again, just still make sure to just run everything. Yeah. So the main thing is, again, this will run as long as it's an integral or a floating point. Basically, just kind of focus on these two symbols right here. It's or. And so far with this as well, it kind of also showed how to combine two of them. Well, this is combined, but basically use an and version of this. So let me just comment this out. And so let me change it a bit. So with this, it'll be the and sign. So two and signs is and, meaning that both of these conditions need to be accurate for it to work. So far, let me change this and everything real quick too, because it didn't make it a floating point. It used the concept we have up here, tiny type. So with this, basically this means it needs to be an integral and it needs to be 4 bytes or less. So again, this should run because the variable is an int. Again, it runs. If I make it a double, it shouldn't run. Yeah, because so far, again, it's not less than 4, so it's not running, and both of these need to be true. So that's really the whole thing and stuff with that too as well. Basically, that was just showing, again, just like how to use basically or and and. So if you want to combine concepts or combine conditions, that's how you would do it. Another thing that it basically showed was this as well. Is that, again, let me go ahead and just copy that and move this over. Yeah, so basically with this and everything right here, it's an exact copy. Instead of tiny type, we could also do this as well. We could basically just instead take requires from up here and just copy everything below it and everything as well, just not the semicolon. And we could just replace this, paste it. Again, it doesn't look as good, but let me just erase this because I don't need this. There we go. Basically, you can do this as well. So instead of just putting like the basic name here, tiny type, you could just straight up put the entire thing after the equal sign. So requires and everything else, just not the semicolon at the end, and then run it. Again, still works and stuff like normal. If I make it a double, it shouldn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. So basically, that's just the whole thing with that. They just said basically they wouldn't recommend this because it makes it look ugly and can make it look confusing as well too. You could just put all this on one line and stuff if you wanted. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, so basically you can have it like this and everything as well. Just the requires, T, and everything and stuff as well. Just basically everything past the equal sign in the concept. You could do that, but again, it just kind of looks more sloppy, especially if this was like very long. Then it would just be a lot of stuff here, so it's just better just to use the name. But really, that was mostly it. The video showed there, just again, like using requires to actually get the concept to affect stuff or to put restrictions, and basically just how to combine concepts using or and that was mostly it. So yeah, that was really it for the entire video. I'm officially on hour 20 of the video. So again, it's still going to take me a bit, but yeah, that was mostly it. So to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.